table. Then our next lesson, my other colleagues will also continue with queries and then report as well as forms. Right. When we talk about database, it simply means a group of large amounts of data which can be organized into records called tables. And then the table gives us a structured way to get access and manage our data. So basically, we can create a table or can create a new database. And then by opening the file, and then you pick the new database. And the database comprises of 4 objects. So like today, we are going to take a look at the table part. And then every database question, which comprises 35 marks, there will be questions on tables, there will be questions on queries, there will be questions on forms, as well as questions on report. So in most cases, you'll be asked to create at least 1 query and then modify 2 additional queries, and then edit 1 form, or create a new form, or edit existing report, or create a new report. And then the table will also be created for you. Then you'll be asked to change the properties and other things, which we are going to take a look at today. Right, now let's start with the table. Regarding the table has different data types. So if you have a record and then you open it in design view, then it has different types of data. First of all, we have the short text. And then the short text is mostly the maximum of 255 characters of text. For example, the name, the surname, the names and then the surnames, as well as cities or countries. They are not many, the number of characters, so we assign short text to it. And then the next one is long text, or in the older version, we call it memo. Which also stores more than 255 characters. For example, maybe review or opinion or detailed product description, because the number of characters can be more than 255. So we make it a long text or memo. Then we also have a number, which contains numbers that are not currency. Like it could be age, it could be even grade. So those ones that are not currency, we assign number to it. Then we also have date and time. We store date and time only. And then the currency for monetary values or the currencies. Then the auto number is assigned automatically to a new record. We sometimes start with 1, 2, and then 3, and so forth. And then we also have the yes and no data type, which is used to enter a Boolean value in the field. When we talk about Boolean value, that means 2 options. For example, yes or no, true or false, or any 2 values. Then we put yes and no option. And then we have the OLE object, which is object linking and embedding. Mostly, I always say for multimedia, for images, documents, for videos, and the rest. We assign it to OLE object. Then we also have hyperlink, which is for hyperlink addresses. Like, for example, URLs or email. So email address or URL website addresses, we use hyperlink for that. And then attachment. Attachment can be used to attach all files. It could be a video, audio. It could also be a document as well. So all forms of
Sorry,
that can be attached like the way we attach.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I can't see anything. Oh, now I see. Sorry. Now I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, right. And then we also have attachment, which is for attaching all forms of files. Please, can you see now the note that I'm reading?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. And then we also have calculated. The calculated data type is used to do calculations. Today, we are going to also look at how we can do calculations in a table. You'll be asked to do calculations at least one in a table or form or report or query. So today we will do at least one calculation also in tables as well. And then we also have the lookup wizard, which will guide you through a process to look up a value. In most cases, we use the lookup wizard when we are having options or when we are using it for combo box or list of items. We choose the lookup wizard for that. Right. So basically, these are the different data types available in database table. And then, like I said, database, we have two views, which I'm going to also display them. We have the design view and then the data sheet view. So here, we talk about design view, whereby we change all these properties and then the data types. Now, when it comes to the data sheet view, that is where mostly we capture the data or which shows only the data in the table. So here we use it to enter or edit the data in the table. And in the data sheet view, you can be given a question to activate the totals. I remember last year there was a question about totals in theory, whereby learners were asked what to give the function of a totals in a database data sheet. And then the totals is basically to do calculations. So when you click on this total icon, which I will show you today, you'll be given an option to do several calculations like average, sum, count, maximum, or minimum of the values entered. Then in the data sheet view, the same way we can be given a question to sort and filter or delete a record or insert a record or at the same time change the row height or the column width, and then also change the background color and then alternate colors, as well as removing grid lines, removing or inserting grid lines. So basically, these are the things that we can do in data sheet view, which we will take a look at that as well. Right. And then the design view, I already talked about the data types. You can also do the following in design view, that is to insert the primary key. And then when we talk about the primary key, it's a unique value for something across the whole database. Or in other words, it's a unique field. We normally assign a primary key to a field that is unique, like ID number. Or for instance, in some cases, you can also assign it to telephone numbers if they are unique. So mostly the primary key would be unique. So normally it has a data type of auto number sometimes also. And then the field properties. So when you're asked to change the field properties, today we will look at this into details. We have one, the field size, which allow us to set a maximum size limit to a data. For instance, the field size for an ID number, the appropriate field size can be 13 because the maximum number of characters that form an ID is 13 digits. So we set it to 13. And then the format, which allow us to set the precise manner in which Access displays data. And then we also have the input mask, which input mask controls how data is entered in a particular field. So these properties, like the field size, like the format, input mask, and then also, let's say the validation rule and validation text, allow us to capture data accurately. So ensure that there's an accuracy in data capture in database. So you can be given a theory question as well to give the field property that can ensure that the data captured into database will be accurate. Then these are the properties that will ensure that. So we have to take note of that as well. Right. Then we also have the decimal places, which allow us to choose a specific number of decimal places, especially if the data type is a number or any numerical values or maybe currency. Then the default value is automatically placed. Here the keyword automatically placed in that column every time a new record is added. So here it doesn't mean that the record that are already there will appear automatically. No, because it's already captured. Here we are talking about the new record that is going to be inserted. Then the default value will be there automatically. We will check that as well today. And then we also have the required property, which force the keyword. It forces the user to must enter certain values. Compulsory values should be entered or should be chosen. You cannot leave it empty. So here, sometimes you can say it cannot be left empty. Those are the keywords we must look out for in order to see whether it's required that we must set it to yes. And then we also have the combo box. Like I said, it allow you to choose options. So we can use the combo box properties, or we can as well use the lookup wizard. And validation rule and validation text, the values entered in this field can be limited or restricted based on certain number or letters only. In other words, you'll be given a criteria. So these values can be limited based on the criteria given. And in most cases, we use operators like greater than, less than, greater or equals to, less than or equals to, or, and, not, between, like, and then sometimes we can also use the wildcards also. Wildcards like asterisk, we can also use it to determine the validation rule. All right. Then we can also have the last one, which is the duplicate index. So we can also have index normally for duplicate values. So here, whether the values should be duplicated or it should not. So we will set it also as well, either yes or no. So basically, these are the field properties that any database question will be part, or they will ask questions from these database questions involving tables. You'll be asked to answer questions on this. Those that are composed mostly input mask, also format, the field size, validation rule, and then even the combo box. Those ones, every question paper, you get a question on that. Right. Now, let's take a look at some of the validation rule. Like I mentioned here, we can use greater than, less than. So like if you have an amount, then if it's a greater or equals to 50 and less than 100, that means from 50 up to 99. It means it doesn't include 100. And then for the date, we normally type the date in the normal format, which I'm going to show you. And then the date will also come with the hashtag as well. And if it involves text, we separate the text with a word or. And then those texts must be in inverted comma. And then we also have between. Between means from. We can use between for numbers and between for letters as well. So if I say between 13 and 18, that means from 13 to 18. These numbers are included. But then when you say between A and M, it means that the letters, all those that are starting from A, or the surname starting from letter A, and then in this case, it does not include M. So it goes up to the letter before M. So it's different from the numbers. The numbers both are included, but when it comes to the letters, the last letter there does not include. Right. And then the wild card, like the email, if they said usually for an email address, so that the email should include an @ symbol, then we put star @ star. That means we can find an @ symbol within the email address anywhere. Right. Basically, these are the database table, and then we are going to solve questions based on what we have discussed right now. So if you have any question, you may ask before I proceed with the question. If you have any question, you can unmute and then you ask. Right. If there are no questions, I will proceed by solving some of the previous question papers involving table. All right. So I have with me here DBE June 2021. And then 5 support. So I'll open the file. All right. So when you open database, you have all the objects here. Like these are the tables, the queries, the reports. Sometimes maybe you can get a question and then you don't see them here, they are hidden. So you must go to this arrow here and then you choose all access. Let's say, unfortunately, you get the question paper and then they have only selected the table. And then you are dealing with queries. You'll be thinking that there are no queries already created. So you have to click on that arrow and then you choose all access objects so that you see all of them there. Right. Now, let me open TBL51. Now, this is the table. So when you double click, it will be in data sheet view. And then if you want to change it to design view, you just right click on the table name and then you'll find design view. So design view contains the field with the data types and description, as well as the properties. So we call them field properties here. Right. So now let me open it in data sheet view. Now with the data sheet view, like I said, you can delete a record, you can sort. So let's say if I want to sort according to region, I will just select the region. If I want to sort in descending order, I will click on descending order. Right. And now, if you want to remove the sorting, you can do so by clicking on remove sort here, or again, there's an arrow next to each field. When you click there, you can clear the sorting. So here I can choose it in maybe ascending order as well. Then we also have filter. Filter just to extract certain values. So you can be given a question to also filter in datasheet view. Let's say I want to filter in such a way that only the staff available should be more than 5. So when you click on the arrow next to that field, so you can see number filter if it's about numbers. So number filter may be greater than 5. So it's going to display only those that are greater than 5 here. Right. Or you can also select them by yourself. If they are not many, you can just take those that you are looking for. You just take them here and then you click OK. But that one takes long time. So it's better you click on the number filter and then use it for that. Also, the number filter also has between. Let's say the smallest value is 5 and then the biggest value is 20. So you can use that one also to filter. Right. If it's about text, like the regions, you go there. We have the text filter as well. Equals to or does not equals to begins with. Let's say I want to display only those that begin with letter G. So you go there, only those with letter G will be displayed. So that's how we apply filter. If you don't want it, you can remove it as well. You go there, then you click the filter option to clear everything. Now, there's also another interesting part about data sheet view, whereby you can be asked to delete a record. Let's say I don't want this record. If I want to delete, I must click on the gray box next to that record. It will select that record. You right click, then you find the option delete record. And that field will be deleted, or that record will be deleted. Right. Again, if I want to increase the row height, I don't need to select all of them. I only need to select one row. You right click and then you find row height. Now, let's say I want to increase it to 25. So it will be applied to all the rows. But there was a time they asked learners to change it to standard height. When you go to row height, you will see a checkbox that says standard height. When you take it, it will take automatically to the standard height for you. So you can be given a question to change the row height into a standard height. So that is how we change it as well. All right, now the next part is to change the color, the background colors, the alternate background colors to remove the gray line. With that part, you go to text formatting. There's an arrow next to text formatting. You click there. So if you don't need the horizontal grid lines, you uncheck. And then there's also cell effects like rays, and then the sunken. These two are 3D. And then we have the flat, which is two-dimensional. So the flat will give you a chance to change the background color as well as the alternate background color. Again, let's also look at for the direction of the text. You can be given a question to change from right to left. All of them, you'll find it under text formatting. Then the borders and then the line style also, we have different borders. We have the column header and the line. You can be given a question to do that. And then the borders, whether solid or dashes or short dash. There we go. So here we use the text formatting to change. Right. The last part, yes.
Could you please enlarge the screen?
All right. Database has a challenging feature when you want to zoom. Let me see if I can increase the format, the font so that you can see properly. Is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. Now, I will go to the last part, which is the totals. Let's say they want to display only the stuff available that are from 11 and above. So we can filter it, and the number filter that is greater than 11. Right. After that, then they want to do the total vehicle. The total vehicles needed for only those stuff available that are from 11 and above. So after you have filtered, you click on totals. Now, when you click on totals, you will see the last row. The moment you click there, you find a drop-down arrow. So because we are looking for the total vehicles needed for only those stuff available, then you click under the vehicles needed. So you choose the sum. So it will give the calculation for you. So we can do calculations as well in datasheet view by using the totals function. And there are so many functions you can use: sum, average, count, maximum, minimum, standard deviation, and variance. Right. Any question about datasheet view before we move on to the design view? If there's no question, let's move on to design view. Now, when we come to design view, here we design or we make changes to the field and its properties. So I have question here. I have some questions here that I want us to discuss. First of all, it says, open the TBL 5_1 in design view and change the following properties. Now it says, place the new field region ID as the first field. And we have to insert the new field called region ID. And then we place it as the new field or the first field. And to do that, because the first field here is vehicle, so we are going to replace the vehicle field, which is the row now, with, we are going to replace the vehicle field, which is a row, with the region ID. So you right click on the vehicle and then you see insert row. Then it will push that vehicle field below, and then you can now insert it here, region ID. And now the question says, set a primary key on the new field. So this is the new field, and to set the primary key, you just right click on it, and then you see primary key, so that you can insert that primary key. And then the next question, set the data type of this field to assign an automatic number to the field. And the data type to assign automatic number is auto number. So we go to data type, we change it from short text to auto number. Then the next question, change the new value property of this field to assign random numbers to this field. Remember the question said the new values property. They are not talking about the data type, neither are they talking about the description. They are talking about properties. So you click there because you have set it to auto number. You will see the auto numbers has properties like the field size, the new values, the format, the caption, index, and text align. So here they are talking about the new value. By default, it's set to increment. And now the question says we must set it to random numbers. So you click there and then you click on the arrow, then you choose random. Then the next question, yeah, this is for 5 marks, that's 5.1.1. Then 5.1.2, it says, study the data in the region code field in the database view to determine the format of the data in the field. In the design view, change the region code field as follows. We must create or set the field size to match the data, and we create an input mask to ensure that the user must insert a code in the required format for 5 marks. You see, this question, they didn't give you how you must enter it. They are now asking us to go to the region code, and then we must set it to match whatever that we see there. So here, we go to the region code. This is the region code. Let me remove the filter option. All right. The region code. Now, the question says we have to study the region code, and then we set the field size. Remember, like we said, the field size is the maximum number of characters. So now the field size, normally I tell my learners to do this. When you get the data, you try to use this one to bring it closer. So that you get up to the last one. So you can see here, the way I have placed it, this one ends up to 2. I can stretch it a little bit. Okay, I widen it. This one also exactly to that size. So as you scroll down, you will see the one with the longest number of characters. So we can see the longest number of characters here is this one. And they are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is also having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the longest one is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the highest number of characters is 6. There's nothing beyond 6. Right. So after this, then we can now change the field size for region code to 6 instead of 10. It should be the maximum number of characters. So you have to check by counting the longest one. Now, when it comes to the input mask, now the question says we must set the input mask so that it follows what we have here in the region code. So what you do is, first of all, identify the longest one, and you write it on your paper. Let's say these are the longest one. And the longest ones, they first start with a letter. So you can write them down somewhere. In this case, I just want to copy them. So you can write them. All right, let me put it here. This is the longest one. Then you go and look for the shortest one as well. So you start the shortest one. This one has 5. And this one is also having 5 as well. This has 5 as well. Right, so it seems the shortest ones are having 5 number of characters. So you copy, no, this is the shortest, it has 4 number of characters. So you have to be careful so that you don't make mistake. You take the longest and then the shortest. So I got the shortest one, which is 4. Yeah, this is the shortest one, which has 4 number of characters. So what to do is you write the shortest and then the longest on your paper, like this. Now you compare them. So you can see the first letter. This one is a letter. And then the second one, and this one has 4 numbers. These 2, and then here, this one also has 2. Then we have additional 2 that the longest one is having, but the shortest one doesn't have. Right. So after putting this one, you'll be able to get your input mark easily. 1, the first letters or the first characters are letters. This has D and this one has Z. So they are all letters. So they all have it. And they are all capital letters. So you put greater than L. Remember L, when you have your input mark sheet, L represents a compulsory letter. And then question mark represent an optional letter. 0 represent a compulsory or required number. And then 9 represent a required, an optional number. Then we also have other one. I will display the input mark sheet right now. So here we are done with the first one, which is greater than L. The reason why we are putting greater than is because it's capital letters, these 2. Then the second one is all of them are also having letters. So it will be the second L as well. And these ones are having numbers, which is 0, 0. So 0 compulsory number is 0. This one is also having numbers, which is compulsory number, which is 0 again. But the second one or the last one here doesn't have these 2 numbers. This first one has these 2 numbers, but this one doesn't have. So it means it's optional because others are not having and they are numbers. So they will be optional numbers. And the optional number is represented by 9. So we put 2 9s there. So this will be our input mask. Greater than 2L, 2 zeros, which represent the compulsory numbers here, and then 2 9, which is optional number. So basically, this one will be our input mask. So first of all, you must try and analyze it. This is the higher order question. You have to analyze it. You pick the longest one and then the shortest one. Then you let them follow each other like that. And then you'll be able to just check from your input mark sheet and then you can do that. So now I will just go to region code, and then the input mask. I put those character sheets there. Greater than 2L. Remember, it's not small l, it's capital L. So that will be the input mask character sheet. Right. Then let's move on to the next question. Any question before I proceed? All right. If there's no question, let's move on to 5.4.1, which says
Sorry,
change the staff available field to the value 10 in all new records. The keyword here is new records, and automatically. The moment you see these two keywords, then you know it's a what? It's a default value. It means we must set default value for staff available to 10. So we go there, staff available field, and then the default value, we put 10. Right. The next question, I think we are done. It says we must close it. So basically, this question had input mask. It had default value, field size, and then inserting a new field as well. Now let's go to the next question. I'm only going to answer question that does not involve the input mask because of our time, and then we can do some calculations as well. If you have any question, you can ask what we have done so far.
Good day, Mr. Antwi. I am not having a question per se, but I'm having a request. There are some learners who seemingly are removing others from the groups. Can they please desist from it?
All right. Please, learners, let us help each other. Everybody must be involved. Let us not remove them. I think in our next lesson, we have to set those restricted. We didn't want to restrict learners or anybody participating, but now it's like when we made everybody as a presenter, it's given us a problem. Please, let us desist from. All right, can you guys hear me, everybody? Please, let us not mute each other as well, because some learners are complaining that they are muted and they can't hear us. Right, I'm going to do, I can even use the same data as well, and then do one or two calculations, and then the validation rule as well. Now, let's say I have a new field called age, and then the age will be assigned as number. Now, if maybe you get a question that says, this database is for only grade 12, and then learner's age should not be older than 20 years, and it shouldn't be less than 15 years as well. That means for you to qualify to be in grade 12, you should be from 15 to 20. Like I said, for database, when you say from, the keyword that we use, if you know the start number and then the end number, we use the keyword between. So between the start number, in this case, 15, and then space and 20. So meaning it will only pick those who are from 15 to 20. That between there is a keyword that we use for database. It's something we use to extract. It's not like the way we understand the word between in English. This is different than altogether. So when you say between, that means from. So if I say between 15 and 20, that means from 15 to 20. Now, when you are inserting the validation text, because the field is age, you have to mention it. It's better you mention it. Validation text, just a description or the message that describes the rule. Description to the rule. So here you can say age from 15 to 20 years allowed. You do not have to say age between. Don't repeat it between again. Please, that between there should be for the rule. Here, you are describing this rule. So age from 15 to 20 years allowed. And in most cases, you can even get it from the question itself. You can get the text from the question itself. Then you just modify it a little bit. So this is the validation rule for numbers, if you know. So you say between 15 and 20. But let's say we have an amount, which an amount will be currency. And then we say the amount should be from 2,000 and above. So in that case, because you know the start amount, but you do not know the end amount, you cannot say between 2,000. So where is it ending? So in that situation, we use greater or equals to or greater than. So in this situation, we say greater than or equals to 2,000. Do not repeat the currency. Don't put the currency symbol there. So greater or equals to 2,000. Then that means from 2,000 and above. And we also have validation rule regarding text. Let's say we want to create a validation rule for gender, so that the gender will only pick either male or female that you can select. So here the validation rule, we can use it in two forms. We can just say it, I want to type it here before. You can just say it for validation rule, male separated by or, and then female. Don't forget to put them in inverted comma. Male or female, that means either male or female. Can only accept male and female. Right, we can also say, we can use this one in. In means inclusive, including. Those are the ones that will be including. So in, then we have male, comma, female. So it means that when you use the in, it means that only these options will be entered as the rule. So you can use in or you separate them with or as the validation rule when it becomes, or when dealing with text. And then if it is about date, like for instance, a date like GOB, date of birth. Now, for validation rule for date of birth, if you know the start date and then the end date, let's say we want to only those who were born from the year 2000 up to the current date can be allowed, or those who were born from the year 2000 to the year 2010. So you start with a keyword between, space, the first date for the year 2000, which is 01/01/2000. Please, let's type the date in the normal format, the day / the month / the year. And 31st December 2010. That means all those who were born from the year 2000 to the year 2010. The first date for the year 2000 up to the last date for the year 2010. When you are done and then you click anywhere, you can see that you realize that the moment you click anywhere, it comes with hashtag. You're going to get it in this format. It will come with hashtag. But then when I was typing, I only type like this, between 1st of January 2000 and 31st December 2010. This is what I typed. But the moment I clicked somewhere, it came automatically with hashtag. For theoretical point of view, or maybe when you are dealing with theory, hashtag for the date, hashtag must always be there regarding date when you are dealing with either query, criteria, or validation rule. But when you are typing, you don't have to worry yourself to put the hashtag. It will be there automatically. So all that you need to do is to type the date, the first date in the normal format, the day, the month, and then the year. And then the last date for that last year, 31st December 2010. Then it will give us this one. So this is the validation rule for date, if you know the start date and then the end date. But then if you know only the start date, then you can use greater than or equals to, type the date in the normal format. Let's say 01, 01, 2000. So you type it by using greater than or equals to, or less than or equals to, or not. In database, we use this as not. That is excluding 01, 01, 2000. Please, let's take note of this for date. And last part of the validation rule. Let's say I have email. And the question says email is a hyperlink. Then the question is requesting us that the email insert validation rule for email so that it will always have the @ symbol. You know, the email always have @ like everybody's email @gmail.com, and the @ symbol is always in the middle. So we use the wildcard as *@*. This is the validation rule for an email. You just put * and then the star. So it means it includes an email address. So whenever you are typing and then you ignore the @ symbol, it's not going to allow you to proceed. And then the validation text for this situation will say it must include an @ symbol. Right. This is the validation rule. Now, any question before I move on to lookup and then calculation? Now let's go to lookup. Let's say I'm having town, and then the towns must only include the 5 district capital. Or maybe let's say only the Mafeking, Freiburg, Rustenburg, the 4 district capital. So here I can use lookup wizard. So you change from short text into lookup wizard. Now we have 2 options here. I will type in the values that I want. If you are going to type the values yourself. And then we also have, I want the lookup field to get the value from another table. So I'll start with the first one. If you have the values in another table, you pick the first one. Then I go to next. I want to pick the values from TBL country. Then I select the country field, next. And then you can sort, next, so it has all the countries here, and then finish. So here, it's picking the values from this table. So that one I chose the first option. So when I go there to town, when I click that, I will see those various towns there. Right. And then the second part is whereby you are typing them. Let's say town 1. This one, let me make a country. With this lookup wizard, then when you choose, I will type in the value that I want. Then you go to next. You type the values yourself. Let's say Freiburg vertically. Mahikane, town. So you type those values vertically. Revilo. When you are done typing, you go to next. Sometimes they will ask you to allow multiple values to be selected or to limit to text or to the list, and then you finish. Now, in all these, we could have answered these questions by also using the lookup. Now, sometimes they can get you a question whereby one of the towns are missing. Let's say town 1, and then we have Poch, which is missing. So when you go there, go to the lookup from the property. You see general and then lookup. When you go there, you see combo box, value list, and then towns are listed under the row source. So you put comma and then you type Poch in inverted comma. So the Poch will be added as one of the options. Right. So this is lookup wizard. Now calculation. I want to do simple calculation. And this time I'm going to use the text function or the vehicle number. When my colleague meet you for queries, you go into details with other calculations. Like I said, we can do calculations in a table, and we can do calculations in queries, we can do calculations in forms, and then we can do calculations in report as well. So now, let's say I want to do calculations in table, and I want the new field name to be called code. Remember, you can also do at least one calculation in database table regarding your pet. So I choose code, and then the short text, I change it to calculated. The moment I change it to calculated, it's going to give me expression builder. Now, I want the code to pick the first 3 characters of the first 3 characters of, let's say, the region. So the function that I need is left. So I can just say left. When I start typing left, it will give me the fx. I double click on it. So left, we want the first 3 characters of the region. So here, I double click on region. Remember, when I double click on region, it gives me region in the square bracket. The square bracket means that it is a field. So I click on this table, I see all the fields here. Comma, I want 3 characters. So comma 3, then you close the bracket. So it's going to extract the first 3 characters of the region. And remember, concatenate in spreadsheets. Shift and 7. And the last 3, That is the right function. The last three numbers of the staff available. Or let me say the region code, comma 2. So it's going to combine the first three letters of the region with the last two letters of the region code. So you can use the left function, you can use the right function. We can also calculate the age by using the year function. The question can come from any angle. Then when you're done, you click OK. Now, well, let me go there and check. So the new calculated field is called code, which gives us the first three and then the last two. Right. Another way of doing the calculation. Let's say I want to increase the vehicles available by 10%.
Sirantwi,
Yes, please.
I'm sorry to disturb, but then say,
Yeah.
you see this left, the calculations and the left-right functions. I don't get them properly. Sir, may you please explain
Repeat.
what we use left and right functions, and yeah, please, please go through them.
All right, thank you. The left function is used to extract from the beginning of a text. Like you see here now, we have the region name. So we want to take the first three characters of this region for each region here. And then we combine it with the last two of the region code, which is the 47. So it's going to give us NEP 47. That's what we wanted. And now to do that, like I said, you put the new field name, let's say code 1, and then the data type, you change it from short text to calculated. Now, when we change it to calculated, you start typing the function name. Left, you see FX here, you double click on it. Now, left of which field are we using? Remember, in spreadsheet, we use the cell name like A1, A2, A3. But in database, we use the field name for calculation. So the left, then you will see when you click on the table that you are using for the calculation, it's going to show you all the available fields here. If I click on the function, the plus symbol here for function and built-in function, is going to give me all the available functions that we can use in database. Like you see here, we have len, we have left, we have log mate, we have minute, we have the month name, we have the right, we also have the second. Most of the functions that are used in spreadsheet, you'll find them also here. The weekday, the year function are all here. So left, then I click on this table. So I want to extract the first three characters of the region. So I double click on the region. Please, can you make your all right, thank you. So when I double click on the region, and then you put comma 3, that means I want to get, that's the length, 3 characters from the region. Then you put concatenate or the symbol shift and then 7, that is to join. Now we want to use the function right. Right of, let's say, the region code comma 2. You want only 2 number of characters from that one from the region code. Then you click OK. So when you check, if you go to January, you see the function here, left of the region, comma 3, and the right of the region, comma 2. Let's say you make a mistake. You can still click there. You will see the 3 dots over here. You click, it's going to open the expression builder for you to correct your mistake. So basically, you can apply all the functions in spreadsheet, most of them here, like the age, like the using the year function, using the days function, you can use them here as well. Right, now, one particular function that,
So
yes,
what you are saying is that if I want to take the last, maybe the last 3 characters, I'm gonna use the right function.
yes, you are going to use the right function.
Thank you, sir.
If you are to take the first 2 or the first 3, you must use the left function.
Okay, I get it, sir. Thank you.
All right, sure. Now, I want to also use the last difficult function, which is called if statement. You must watch out for either if statement or the text function or the date calculation. They can ask you any of these questions in the database table or queries. Let's say I want to put a new field called comment, and then I do the calculation. Now, the comment will be if, let's say, the person the vehicles needed is more than 10, then you say enough. Otherwise, the comment should be not enough. So because of this, we have to use the function called if statement. And in database, we use double if instead of if. Just one if in spreadsheet. Database is double if. You click on your fx. Now, we are comparing the stuff or the vehicles needed. So if the double click on vehicles needed is greater than or equals to 10, comma, then it says the true part will be enough, which will be in inverted comma, and then the false part is not enough. Then you close the bracket. So basically, it's similar to the one that we do in spreadsheet. The only problem is this one here, we use double if. And when we go there, it's going to give us the right answers. Enough and not enough. Right. So it will compare the values. And this is how we do the if statement. Let me put it here. If the vehicle needed, so the vehicles needed, which is in the square bracket like this, it makes it the field. Field for calculation are always in the square bracket. So if the vehicles needed is greater or equals to 10, then the message enough should be displayed. Otherwise, not enough should be displayed. But then here we use double if instead of just one if in spreadsheet. Any question? Right. If there's no question, I think we can bring our first discussion about database to an end. And then again, I would like you to solve as many as from that homework. Let me just go and check again. Like I always want you to work and solve these questions for me every day. So this one also from database, table formatting, pick free state question 3.1.1 or the whole 3.1, and then validation rule DBE 2021 5.1, Western Cape 2022 5.1, DBE 2021 5.1, input mask DBE June 2022 5.1, and then GDE Houghton paper. Also, other table properties like the input mark, the required, and the rest, you look at this one. Calculations in a table. If you take DBE 2019, October, November 5.1, you see calculations in a table. So I would like you to do these questions for me as homework before you start the queries. Right. Thank you for your precious time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.